What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Niner Faithful. Top of the afternoon to y'all. Happy St. Patty's Day. Happy real New Year's Day. Yeah, that shit that happens January 1st. We ain't worried about that right here. Welcome to season 5. It's been a long time waiting. Trent Williams is I can't even speak. I am so juiced. I got like 2 hours of sleep
Thank
last
you,
night
baby
because I
rapper
was going
Jesus.
crazy. I mean, we're all super juiced. We were all up late night chatting and taking shots, and woo, it was been a great day.
Hey, some of us were on the way to work when that got released.
Lord, let's not even go into yeah. Anyway, so first, before we get started, I would like everybody to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We are trying to grow the channel this year. We are trying to monetize YouTube. That is our biggest goal this year. Also, we'd like to remind everybody to, of course, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/slash Niner Faithful Radio. We're going to be adding new great stuff to there this year. We're going to be trying to add a Spanish podcast to the show this year. We're going to be trying to do a lot of big things. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. The biggest news, obviously, Trent Williams. 6 years, 138 million. I'm pretty sure everybody loves the deal. We'll go ahead and start with you, Jason. Your quick thoughts.
Uh, it's everything I wanted. I'm done for Christmas. Later.
Yeah, the,
I mean, we pretty much
that's
hit everything so far this offseason that I wanted. I mean, we can get into the quarterback stuff with Jimmy, Watson, whoever else later. But as far as re-signing free agents, I'm happy with everybody. We hit everything we wanted to hit, especially with Trent. Everything is basically cap friendly for the most part. And like I said, even bringing on Mac to go along with Trent, like I said, it fits in perfectly for the cap because, with it being a lot lower this year because of everything that happened last season. So, like I said, I am happy. I'm looking forward to seeing how everything moves out now, especially with the draft coming up because we don't have to worry about drafting linemen. That opens up a whole heck of a lot more for what we can do in the draft for this year.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I ditto everything. I mean, it's yeah, there are drunken Facebook posts for those who drunken Facebook posts for those who follow me on Facebook. But I mean, I think my sentiments were quite clear last night. Trust the fucking process, dude. I think that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, while they haven't done everything perfect, I think they've clearly, going into the 5th season of the Lynchahan era, they've obviously grown into their roles. I think that they've learned some lessons, like we all do. I mean, your first day of your first job, you're not exactly as good as you are the fifth, your 5th year into that same job. But if you could have told any faithful that we would be here, March 17th at 3:06 p.m. here on the West Coast, we've got Trent Williams locked up, we got Jason Verrett locked up, we've got Juice locked up, we've got E-Man locked up, Ross Boss, Marcel Harris, Brunskill, DJ Jones was just announced.
Ago.
Yeah, DJ Jones 5 minutes ago. I think the only one that, and we'll get into the players that we lost a little bit, a little bit later, but the only one that I'm really looking at is K1. I mean, that's the only one that if you could ask me, what would make your birthday the most amazing birthday on Friday? Yeah, if you could tell me K1 Williams will sign a nice 1, 2, 3, however many year deal that needs to get it done, then yeah, that's the only thing I'm looking forward to. Jamie, how about you?
I'm very excited because I know a lot of people are getting nervous that Trent Williams still hadn't gotten done yet, and everybody was like getting a little worried because I do think that if they were not able to get this deal done, it was going to affect the rest of their free agency and their draft process. So I think like that was a big one. But we got the deal done. That's important. We got a stable left tackle for the next 6 years. He's under contract for the next 6 years. He's great at pass protection. He's great at run blocking. He obviously fits
good.
Kyle's scheme, and
Yeah.
and he got Alex Mack over too, which we'll talk about later, which I think is a great fit too. And so I'm like all up for this because now we really don't have to worry about linemen in the draft that much unless we really want to go after a guard early, but I don't know. And stuff. And I think it's good. And I agree with you. We've locked up a lot of the guys we wanted to bring back, which I think is really great. I think K1 is the only one we haven't yet, and he might be the one who might slip away, but we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think that what makes me interesting to me about K1 is I thought he was gone. Robert Saleh is we all know Robert Saleh's two biggest man crushes on the Niners were Ronnie Blair and K1 Williams. I mean, those were Robert Saleh's two biggest, crushes on his defense since his time as a Niner, as a Niners DC. So the longer it goes, the more I think it benefits the Niners. I think that it was pretty clear that the Niners had been in talks with Juice, and we'll go ahead and get into the drunken text and how much I fucking love John Lynch. But, I think the more it gets to K1, but it's the same thing I said at Trent Williams. Obviously we were all nervous. Obviously, we want the silverback, protecting Jimmy or whoever the quarterback is this season. And, dare I say, anybody who listens to the show, I mean, let's be real. The profile pic for myself personally on the page was Joe Staley's, the tribute to Joe Staley picture for the last year. I purposely did that. I said I'm not going to change it until next season. And so I love Joe Staley. Joe Staley to me is my favorite Niner lineman of all time. But we upgraded with Trent Williams, and I didn't think that was possible. I was on the line about it and everything like that. But I did not think that. But when I saw him destroy that Arizona linebacker, I was like, you know what? That's a bad man right there. That's a very, very bad man who shows up with ill intentions on every single play. It's everything we could hope. Just another sad note, and just to kind of get this out of the way, anybody who listens to the show also knows my man crush on Kendrick Bourne. I want to make this very clear that I am absolutely thrilled for Kendrick Bourne that he got $7.5 million from the Patriots.
He busted his ass for it.
Yeah, he. I think, to me, he's the best success story of the Lynch era. When you consider undrafted free agent, took a bet on himself, came out his junior year, went undrafted, and Kyle Shanahan was never shy about. It was a struggle for KB in the beginning. He had to do a little bit of growing up to do, showing up late to meetings, and there was a little bit of a filling out process. We all know KB is a ball of energy, and, that can rub some people the wrong way. And, let him drop a pass on third down, and we'll see how Boston treats his dancing after that, But I think that KB is the biggest success story when you consider what he is. And, sir, I tip my cap to you. Get your $22.5 million for 3 years. I wasn't going to have the Niners pay that. So if Bill Belichick, who is not really known for overpaying for players, if Bill Belichick wants to give KB a $7.5 million a year, then get it, KB. Ain't your fault that somebody's that stupid to give you $7.5 million. Now, when you look at it beyond the emotional side, as I feel of a huge fan of KB, what we're gonna miss. I mean, you can't. I had a lot of people, obviously, Twitter was Niner Facebook was very conflicted with this. We know KB's had his well-documented drops and everything like that. But dude, 137 catches, either going for first downs or touchdowns. Now we all know we love Kittle corn and everything like that, but we all know that's the one weakness of his game. Man doesn't score that many touchdowns. So the best argument I had with my boy Dylan was I said, look, I'm not saying that he was an elite receiver, and we just lost Jerry Rice in his prime or anything like that, but KB was our best red zone receiver. And I think that's something that you can't underestimate. That he clearly had a relationship with Jimmy. Jimmy trusted him. And we don't have to go very far into Niner past to see that that's not always the case. We all know that Jimmy had his issues with Dante Pettis. That's quite clear, well documented. And so to lose KB, that's going to hurt. And let's the hand we trust.
Not to cut you off, but Solly just got signed by the Raiders.
Interesting.
Oh,
interesting. I thought Solomon was going to be one of those players that came back on like a 1-year prove it deal. Kind of like how the
Niners
really
hoping for it too.
Kind of like how the Niners did with Jimmy Ward. Cool, awesome, congratulations,
good for
Sully.
him.
What were the terms? 1 year, I'm assuming.
Yep, 1 year, $5 million, just your basic prove it deal.
Yeah, cool, awesome.
Good for him.
Wow.
I'm picking Solomon Thomas to have a lightweight bounce back season. We all know coming off the ACL, his ACL tear last year in that piece of shit turf in New Jersey, which is actually, I think that's a little lightweight key sneaky factor with K1 is that it was very clear that the team wasn't happy last year with that turf. And so to K1, who had knee issues last year, let's not pretend that K1 was on the field for every snap. If I'm K1 and the Niners are offering me $2-3 million less, do I want to play on natural grass or do I want to play on that turf that I just watched? What was it? Within 2 plays that we watched Sully and Bosa go down, plus Raheem with his knee sprain that week too.
Yep.
If I'm a player, K1's going to be 31 this year. If I'm a 31-year-old player, do I really want to play, 8 to 9 games on an artificial turf? I don't know. I mean, that's just a factor. So, Jason, your thoughts, and we'll get Jamie and Jason's thoughts on the loss of KB.
Kind of like you. I like KB. Look, being part Samoan too, and him being Samoan, I always root for those guys. That's just natural for me. That's just how it goes. So, on that aspect, with the quote unquote ethnic part of it, it lost it because he's one of the Usos on the team. I always support those guys. Going back to like Jesse Cipolla and all those guys back in the day. But as far as the player, I think I'm not as high on him as a lot of people because at best he was a third down receiver. You can get third down or third wide receivers a dime a dozen anywhere. So, and he dropped big game passes quite often. But he did make them. He did catch big game passes at the same time, but a lot of it's the inconsistency that killed it for me for a lot of it. Was he going to catch that third or fourth pass that was because he'll make 2 incredible throws or catches on like a 2nd and 20, but then he'll get drilled right between the numbers on a 5-yard ball and drop it right there with the game, where we need a first down. So it's like, I don't know. It's like if we can get somebody more consistent in that position, I'm all for it. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll miss him because, besides having somebody like Quan, with basically being the hype man, the cheerleader on the sideline, that's what he was the best at.
Yeah.
But again, you can get guys for that. I'd prefer somebody with a little bit more consistency for the third receiver.
Jamie?
It's good for KB for going and getting his money. Him out of all the players I saw on social media was working hard. Like he was training like all the time. He posted all the stuff he was doing. And he is very funny because he would make the hardest catches but he would drop the easiest ones, and it's like it's like backwards in my head. I'm like, I don't get it. But I do agree though with what TJ said is that he was our biggest red zone threat. Jimmy, for whatever reason, had no problem throwing him the ball in the end zone if he was open. Like if he saw a window, he would try to get it to KB. And so that's going to definitely be something that is going to be interesting to see this season, to see who kind of either steps up into that role or who and who Jimmy or whoever our quarterback is going to be decides to do. But I do think his biggest thing is his energy. Like he was one of the most energetic guys on the team, and that's going to be missed. But I definitely think that they'll bring more people in to fill that role, and that's something that they could do. But I'm glad that he went and got his money and stuff, and we'll see what happens with him on the Patriots. Just wish him luck there. So.
Well, yeah, I'm not. It's one of those things that I'm definitely happy. KB, go get your bag, bruh. Anytime I see a brother shine and making money, I'm happy. And I wasn't gonna have the Niners pay him $7.5 million. No. So I think we going on to Juice, and this is the thing about Juice, is because I think Juice is probably going to be the most controversial signing of the offseason. And when I say controversial, I don't think anybody is done with the Niners and thinks we should fire Lynch and they don't know what the hell they're doing because of, this albatross of a contract. Okay, so here's a little bit of stats with Juice. With Juice on the field, Niners expected points added EPA +2 per 100 plays. Without him, -8. 15 points added per 100 plays, and a 6% drop-off rate without him on the field as far as success running rate. So to me, if I was Kyle Shanahan, I would just slap tight end on his title and tell everybody shut the hell up. Because let's be real, Kyle Juszczyk is a tight end playing fullback. Okay, let's just be real. Kyle Juszczyk is a tight end playing fullback, and I think what gets so overlooked, and people are so quick to call Shanahan a genius, which he is, but knock when he says, "Hey, that player right there, that number 44." Yeah, I need him on my team. Oh, well, no, we can't pay him. He's a fullback. So the man who's an offensive genius and says, I want that number 44 every year that I'm a coach on this football team, and then you're going to knock that? I don't understand that. To me, I give Kyle Shanahan whatever the hell he wants. And what I think is also not being discussed is John. I want to say this with caution because John Lynch is not going. John Lynch is a Hall of Fame safety. He's not going to let the defense slide. But I think in a year of transition, where we're going to have some growing pains with DeMeco Ryans. We discussed on a later show. We love DeMeco Ryans. I think right hire by the Niners, keep it in-house, all that. But to think that he's not going to have some growing pains, and we're just going to trot out there and walk out there, roll the helmets out and have a top 5 defense, I think is a little naive. So I think we're going to need to depend on the offense to hold a little bit more weight this year. I walking into free agent, I was pretty confident that Juice and any offensive player that we wanted, that we were going to get, I thought it was going to be the defense that was going to take the hit as far as losing free agencies, and that's what it seems to be. So this is, of course, before we lost KB. So, I did think KB was going to be back. So to me, it's a 3-year deal. essentially a 2 to 3 year deal. It's 2 point something million and 3 point something million next year. Man, get the hell out of here for the best
It's cap
fullback
friendly
in
as
the
hell.
league.
It is cap friendly.
But yeah, cap friendly as hell for the best fullback in the league. The man that Kyle Shanahan. Let's not think that this was a sign. This is one of the first signings that the Niners made when Lynchahan, his 1st wave of free agent. So this was clearly a priority. So the man that dropped I was just watching the highlights of the 20, a lot of the 49 hours that the Niners put out, and I was watching a lot of those from the 2019 season, and one of the ones I watched was the Carolina game. Because I think that's the first game that the league was put on notice that, hey, this team in the Bay in 2019, they're for real. And so do I expect us to get to that level on defense? No. I'm sorry. We just don't have DeForest Buckner. And we'll get into the Sosa signing here in a minute. But I think what we saw is the formula of the Lynchahan era works. Because I don't give a damn what anybody says about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. All but 7 minutes of the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, we were pretty much the best team in football all year. And I don't even think it was relatively close. Honestly, if we're really honest with ourselves, the Niners are pretty much the best team in football for pretty much the whole season in 2019. And so Juice was a huge part of that. And Jason, Jaymie, your thoughts about Juice?
I called him my offensive MVP when we did the end of season show, because even when even how many running backs did we go through last year? About 20. And how good was the running game? Still keeping us in games, still chucking out yards every game, and that was behind him for the most part. Offensive line. We had how many different offensive line setups? How many different wide receivers? This, that, tight ends. The one consistent was Juice. And, he was opening up holes, making blocks for everybody, making plays all year long. So, to me, getting him back was the biggest piece on the offensive side, arguably more than Trent. As big as a signing as Trent was, Juice knows the system. He in and out. He knows where to be at the right spot at the right time. And if we're going to continue, to be the running team that we are, we need to have him back. Especially if we get a Mostert back, a healthy Mostert, having Juice back leading the way. We're good.
McHasty, McNasty, exactly. I ditto all that. I mean, to me, let's be real. That Super Bowl, Juice scored that first touchdown. And, if Jimmy and a lot of people look at his stats and everything like that, well, let's not forget, how many times was he wide open on that wheel route last year and the ball got overthrown?
Or not
How
thrown.
many times or not thrown? And so, Jaymie, your thoughts about Juice?
I'm glad he's back. He's been so important in this offense since the beginning. It's like, and his deal is cap friendly. Like, what more can you ask for? It's like he got his money. The team made it so that they're not strapped, and that he still gets paid. We still have a huge part of our offense, because, like you said, he's so big in the run game. He can run out, he can catch. I wish they would use him more to throw him the ball. I would love for him to be able to do that a little bit more sometimes. But I'm cool with it. I'm happy he's back. Like, he's been so important this whole team. So I'm just glad he's back, that they were able to work that out.
I think the most underrated aspect of Juice is toughness. Clear. I mean, look at that pitch out that he did in New Orleans. He got rocked. That was one of the games that came up with the 49 hours that I had forgotten. I was like, damn, Juice got rocked on that play. And was still up there flexing in there, and I love it. And the thing I love about Juice is I was watching a little bit of that's why we had a little bit of a delay. I was watching his presser that he did today. And he came out and he talked. He was very open. We all saw Juice get very emotional about the possibility of leaving the Niners this year. And this is a tough football fullback. I mean, for all of us who know football, I know. Shout out to our special new watcher that's watching for the first time today. Welcome, love. She might not understand, but fullback is not a position for the weak hearted. And to see that man break down over the thought of leaving a football team, all of us hold the Niners a special place in our heart, and this is a business to a lot of players. But that hit me in my heart that somebody who's that emotional and that dedicated to my football team, give me 53 players like Juice. Give me 53 players who want to be here, who are sold out on what it is to be a Niner. And look, we all know, as faithful, we all know how emotional we get about players that we hold dear in our heart. Number 44 is a very, very special number to the faithful. We all know Tom Rathman, forever Niner Hall of Famer, all that. And I do not say this lightly, but I think Juice wears number 44 with pride. And I think Tom Rathman is proud to let him wear his number. And I don't take that lightly. We're talking about a man who has 3 Super Bowl rings, okay? And was a reason that Frank Gore is the best running back, and one of the biggest reasons why Frank Gore is the best running back in team history. And Frank Gore always talks about how he'll run through brick walls for Tom Rathman. And just what Tom Rathman meant to the culture of the Niners, to have a man who won 3 rings that knew what it was like to be a part of the dynasty on the sidelines, and to let that man wear that jersey. Yeah, I think that speaks volumes to Juice. And anybody who questions this man, look at the play, the Matt Breida 80-yarder opening Monday night against Cleveland. There's a breakdown that I believe I shared on Twitter, on Niner Faithful Radio's Twitter, that it's a Baldy's breakdown of the game against the Vikings game in the playoffs. And he talks about how Juice was in on 50 plays, didn't touch the ball, but he broke down every single play that Juice affected. Go watch that Baldy breakdown if you think we can just simply sign a tight end off the streets and do what Juice does. Look at that opening play on Cleveland where mid-play he sees that a player who has the ability to wreck the play changes his block mid-play and springs Matt Breida for it. That was the block that sprang Matt Breida for that 80-yard touchdown. Go watch that play if you think that we could just sign some scrub off the streets in July to come replace Kyle Juszczyk. Now let's see. JV, we'll go ahead and look at JV here pretty quick. JV, to me, I love it. I love a man who bets on himself, especially if what the rumors are reported that he did turn down a multi-year deal to stick with the Niners. Yet again, somebody who shows loyalty, shows that he wants to be a Niner. I think that being from Fairfield did play a role into it, but let's be real. Jason Verrett did the Niners a solid. He said, you know what? You showed faith in me after 2019. A lot of teams would have said, hey, look, we took a chance. Didn't work out. No, they went, and not only did they go to JV like, hey, we're going to give you another shot. We have a plan for you. We have a plan to get you back healthy and get you back to your Pro Bowl form. And let's be real. We all know that Sherm's a free agent and he's gone and everything like that. And look, we all tip our cap to Uncle Sherm and all that. But, man, I'd rather have Jason Verrett than Richard Sherman right now. And to get Jason Verrett on a 1 year cap friendly, $5.5 million for a corner that should have been in the Pro Bowl, or that should be if stayed healthy, a Pro Bowl corner. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I call that Charlie Sheen winning. Jason, your thoughts about JV?
It's another logical signing. Like I said, it goes along with everything else that we've done in the offseason. We've checked all the boxes we need. We knew Sherman wasn't going to be back.
Yeah.
And besides, mostly, we really didn't have anybody personally that I trust back there.
No, I'm not trying to see Tim Harris start line up against DK Metcalf.
Ryan Allen or whoever the hell we pulled off Saturday night to start that one game. I don't want to live through that again. So, I mean, even if we had mostly started and then, in the draft where we're at, we could get a decent young corner, but we need a Vernette back. Vernette is right now. So, I'm good with it.
Jamie?
I'm glad he's back. Like, I was hoping that the team would bring him back. He really proved himself last year. I'm glad he took a small deal this year and like another kind of prove it deal. He stuck with us, especially. I didn't hear that he got turned down the multi-year deal. That's a lot that he wanted to stay with the team.
Supposedly a lot of money. A lot.
Oh, really? Wow. But I liked it. I liked him. I like him a lot. If he has another season like he did last season, like I think we could be in, and if we draft a young quarter and stuff, like I think we could be in decent shape. Because Verrett really did well last season after his injuries. So
look, we can speak about last season in hindsight, but I never like to speak in hindsight. Let's be real. That pick against the Yams that he had, that very well could have been a turning point in the season. It's easy to overlook it because, whatever, not a playoff, whatever. But at the time, that could easily have been the Kittle over the 4th and 2 Kittle play of 2020.
We were still in contention.
That easily could have been a play. If a couple breaks happened later in the last year, if the Niners snuck in the playoffs last year, I very, very well believe that we would have looked at that Jason Verrett pick as a turning point in the season. And to get a Pro Bowl corner, truthfully, this is what I think that the Niners did. I think the Niners went up to him. Hey, Kim, how you doing? I believe that the Niners came to Jason Verrett, said, hey, let us give you this 1-year deal, right? Prove to us that you can be healthy, which is reasonable. Look, we're all rainbows and butterflies right now, but Jason Verrett is an injury risk. We need to be honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
Prove to us that you can be healthy, and we'll rack you out next season. And I believe that's what we're going to see. Now, that doesn't guarantee that we'll sign him because a team could come and blow his doors off. But I believe that's if Jason Verrett signs a long-term deal next year, I believe that we're going to hear about how that basically the negotiation of a long-term deal with Jason Verrett started with this 1-year contract extension. To me, before we get to everything else and another loss, to me, I think, which will be, I'm calling it here, the first episode of season 5 of NFR. I'm calling it right now, the Kerry Hyder signing of a Shaq Barrett, maybe not to that level, but a Shaq Barrett type of signing is, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name without a little bit more practice, but we're just going to call him Sosa 50. Samson Mbakwe. We'll just say that. I know I slaughtered it, but to me, a little bit of notes I just took on him. He came out of the draft running a 4.5 40 at outside linebacker, which put him in the 93 percentile. That's D4 type of speed. When you look at a pressure rate or pressure percentage, Kerry Hyder 12.6, Sosa 14.7. So if you tell me that we restructure D Ford and add Sosa as an insurance policy and hurt the Yams, who I believe will probably be our biggest competition for the division this year, Man, I'm all for that. What's cracking? And the thing to me that I'm most excited about this deal is we bring him with Coach K, who I believe is one of the best D-line coaches in the NFL, and we'll get the best out of Sosa. Whatever peak performance we can ever see from Sosa, I believe Coach K is the one to get it done. Is the one to get it out of him. You heard a division rival, and yet again, Lynch Hand sees a need, fulfills a need. It was clear that we needed an edge presence that can contain mobile quarterbacks, have the athleticism to contain mobile quarterbacks, which has been an issue for this defense. And you mean to tell me we can get that for 2 years and at most $13.5 million? Shoot that. Bring that to me right now. I don't know how y'all felt about that, Jason, but yeah, that's how I felt.
It's nice on paper. It's nice in the limited amount of reps that he got over there with the Rams. Let's see if he can do it full season. That's my big, it's big. He's been good in the limited. What's he going to do when he's up there like every play and full time reps and stuff like that? Then we'll see what he's worth it. But on paper and for what
he'll be
I'm sorry.
My bad, bro. Not to cut you off. He will be a situational pass rusher. He's not going to be
a probably more reps
player
now than he did over with the Rams.
Oh yeah. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
It's easy to look good in spurts, but can he keep it up? With more plays, everything. Like I said, he's fast. He's got moves. Like I said, he can chase down anyone. Let's see you do a little bit more than just like you said, just on passing downs. Because if he's got to chase around and Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, all those guys, you're gonna get tired if you're in there all the time. So like I said, it's another one of those almost prove it deals. It's a little bit low now, but he plays his ass off for 2 years, then he's gonna get paid somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Very high reward, low risk type of deal. To me, I look at it this way. I look at Samson, bitch. You know what I want? Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to do that at least once. For those who have never seen Half Baked, that joke is going to go way over your head. But anyway, I need, if you could give me 4 to 6 sacks, which I understand is a lot for a man who's only had 14 sacks in 4 years. But if you can get even 3, if you can give me 3 to 6 sacks from Sosa, I'm taking that to the bank, and I'm running that in. I'm cashing that check, and I'm smiling all the way to the bank when we expect that we're going to have big number 97, or let's assume that we're going to have big number 97. We'll go ahead and get into that after this last thing. But Jaymie, your thoughts about the man with the never mind. I can't even think of a good reference. Samson.
I like the move. It makes a lot of sense with like with D Ford's injury and all that, signing somebody else. Like what Jason said, it looks good on paper. He looks like he'll be a good fit for this offense. He's fast, everything that we want. Just got to see if we can do it. And the contract is pretty reasonable, so I'm all for it. Because this defense runs on how well the D-line produces and how much pressure they get. So if he can even do kind of what Kerry Hyder did last season or something to that extent, like we might be in good. And if Nick Bosa stays healthy and everything, and then that will help there. Like if this D-line stays somewhat reasonably healthy, we'll be in pretty good shape. There will you said, like what you said with D'Amico Ryan coming in as defensive coordinator, we're gonna have some learning curves and all that stuff. But the defense isn't changing, and the one thing about this defense is the D-line it like dictates the rest of the defense basically. So I think it's a good move. I think it's a solid move. I'm excited for it. See what happens.
I love it. I mean, we all saw. Look, I've been watching Niner football very, 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 very long time. And in 2019, I've never seen a D line just that NFC Championship game. I've never seen a D line just overwhelm a quarterback like that before. Maybe in my lifetime. I mean, that was insane. And if we could even get close to that level, I mean, I'm not gonna. Nothing in life is ever guaranteed. But I might be taking a trip up to Tahoe to put a couple $100 on the Niners for a Super Bowl. If we could get up to that type of level, yeah, I think that might be a pretty safe bet. Now, to go to the annual Shecox Love Our Players signing, Akello Witherspoon, 1-year deal to go to the Shecox. I tip my hat to him. I say, Akello, I'm nervous because he has the potential. We all know that. We all know that he had the potential to be a good quarterback in this league. And if any coach can get it out of him, I believe Pete Carroll is that coach. And that worries me because I'd hate to see number 32 and number 23 come back and haunt us. Being DJ Jones, DJ Reed, and Akello. That would, man, I can even imagine. I don't even want to think about what Twitter would be like, from 1 and 2s if Akello picks off a Jimmy pass to seal a victory in a division title. I don't even want to, man, that shit's going to give me nightmares tonight. But I tip my cap to him. You know what? They can deal with the inconsistency. They can deal with the him getting in his head. Tip my cap. Now, to go to the biggest news, I think that's coming out, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up after this. I know Jason and I got in a little bit of discussion like that is Deshaun. Now, before I quote this, I want to say this. We all know about the apparent lawsuit that has put out about Deshaun Watson. Okay, I want to speak as CEO of Niner Faithful Radio. I feel pretty comfortable in saying this, and I'm pretty sure I echo everybody's thoughts. I don't want no fucking rapist, no sexual assaulter on this football team. Okay, that shit has no place in our fucking society. All right, I want to make that very, very, very clear. Especially with the news that we won't speak on this because we're not going to talk about another podcast, especially with the news that came out about Matt Barr this weekend. Okay? That shit has no place in our society. Now, with that being said, I think it's bullshit. I think it's awfully convenient that the lawyer who's making this claim was very close to Bob McNair and has very deep ties to the McNair family. I don't think that's a coincidence. Okay? Now, if it comes out that Deshaun Watson did anything to violate a woman, man, I'm off the board. I don't give a fuck how many Super Bowls you're going to win us, bruh. Okay? That shit don't go down in that franchise. That's not how the empire gets down. With that being said, if he is proven innocent, and I do believe that one of our biggest core beliefs as Americans is the right to innocent until proven guilty. Man, we need Deshaun Watson on this team, bruh. I know I went a lot to, kind of go out of my way like I didn't want him. No. Look, everybody who knows me, listens to the show, knows I'm the biggest Jimmy supporter. But number 4 is special. Number 4, I would dare say, talent-wise, and just pure athleticism and those type of things, man, he might be the best quarterback to put on a Niner uniform. Honestly. And, we all know that we hold number 16 in high regard, but Joe wasn't an athlete like that, bruh. Deshaun Watson could do things on a football field that Joe Montana would never dream of.
Can't even think of.
Personally, I think Steve Young was a better athlete than Joe Montana. And I think that Deshaun Watson could do things on a football field that even Steve Young could never even dream of. And so the big debate I believe that you're in two camps with the Deshaun Watson. You assign him to a blank check, whatever it takes, or you're anybody but Bosa type of camp. Now, I know I've said on this show that Bam Bam, Kittle Corn, and Nick Bosa were off limits. I still say no to Kittle Corn, and honestly, I don't even know if they want him because who the hell is going to throw him the ball?
Tyrod Taylor.
I'm Tyrod Taylor, cool, awesome.
They did sign him this morning, or was it last night? I don't remember.
Yeah, and that's awesome, but
he's Deshaun Watson light. Let's be honest.
True, but
similar, but he ain't as good.
I mean, cool. Yeah. I mean, okay, good luck. Let's be real. They're gonna ask for Nick Bosa. Look, if I'm Houston, I have to ask for Nick Bosa. I have to.
Give him Bosa.
Okay, you have to ask for Nick Bosa. I'm giving him Fred Warner. We all know we have the Bam Bam MVP of the Week award. I love me some Fred Warner, best linebacker in the league, but durable, heartbeat of all that. But after watching some of, and I think that maybe we forgot a little bit after watching some games of 2019. Man, Nick Bosa is that damn dude. They don't make him like that. I mean, that's somebody who's bred. Nick Bosa was bred. Not only, okay, to get a player like Nick Bosa, you have to have the genetics of a father that was a first-round pick and the genetics from your mother's side of her brother being another first-round pick. You got a brother that was a first-round pick. Man, that's just a genetic lottery, okay? People like that just aren't really made. Then you add the dedication. I rewatched the State of the Franchise, and I watched Nick Bosa talk about the last 7 minutes of the Super Bowl. And I swear to God, Nick Bosa was about to burn fire through the camera when you talked about how pissed he was about how that last 7 minutes of that Super Bowl went. That's one of the reasons as we all know, Niner Faithful, we bet a lot of our financial means on our Revenge Tour t-shirts last year. One of the big reasons I bought into the Revenge Tour 2020 was because of number 97. And I don't give a damn who it is. You can give me Joe Montana in his prime. I'm not trading number 97. Eddie D, greatest owner in sports history, changed the course of our franchise, the Bay Area, forever. I don't believe we have the Sharks in San Jose without the success the Niners had. I don't believe the Giants build Oracle Park without the success that the Niners had. We damn sure don't build Levi Stadium without the success the Niners had in the 80s. So Eddie D came out and said the worst mistake he ever made was trading Charles Haley. The Niners have a Charles Haley type player. You don't get opportunities to draft players like that very often. And let's be realistic. If things work out the way they do, especially if we get Deshaun Watson, when the hell are we going to be number 2 overall to be able to pick that type of talent? Now, Jason, I know that you're going to agree to disagree with me. So go ahead, bro. I'll give you the floor.
I'm going to agree with you on this part. Bosa is above and best an elite edge rusher. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, nobody can deny that.
The problem is edge rushers, especially nowadays, they're a dime a dozen. You can get edge rushers all over the place. Are they going to be Nick Bosa? No. That is admitted. But if you can look how good the defense was last year without Bosa. Still, top 5 defense?
Yeah.
So getting somebody to be Bosa is not the problem, or isn't an issue. We just need somebody who's close to Bosa. The other problem with Bosa is the brother's got injuries. He does have
I'll give you that
going
one.
all the way back. So that said, if we can get Deshaun Watson, say Bosa and 2 first rounders for example, and Jimmy, throw Jimmy in there too. We won't need him anymore. Why not? We can use one of those first round draft picks to get a decent pass rusher or 2. And someone who is not injury prone. Now, again, he could go the rest of his career, never get another injury, end up a sack leader, all that. But do we know that? No. Precedence right now says he gets hurt. So, get rid of him. And like I said, that's the same thing I feel, if you want to do the flip side, everybody wants to say, get rid of Jimmy because of injuries. Why doesn't nobody want to talk about that with Bosa?
No.
That's a fair point.
Look, when we had this conversation last night, I said the one thing that I'll concede, and I said this when we drafted Nick Bosa. I said Nick Bosa is going to be great. I'll admit, I know Kim's going to put this in the comments. I'll admit I didn't think he was going to be as good as he was. I just thought no player could possibly live up to that hype. And I was wrong. But I said Nick Bosa is going to be great when he's on the field. But the problem is going to be him on the field. And I think a lot of people seem to forget that Nick Bosa was very close. And I believe, we all know this, his first practice at his Niner, what does he do? Tighten hamstring. Has some hamstring. And if I'm not mistaken, that he almost, and then his first practice back, damn near tears his ACL. His rookie year. And people seem to forget it was a question mark on whether he was going to be available for week 1. And so, look, like I said to you, I would give up 4 first rounders not to have to trade Bam Bam or Nick Bosa. Man, if you could tell me that we cannot get this trade without trading Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, and we can give up Javon Kinlaw and Eric Armstead, or I don't think they'll take 2 players from one position group, but let's say Dre Greenlaw, and Kinlaw, and
I'd throw Debo
maybe
in there.
You add Debo. Okay, yeah. Debo. Okay, shoot me that. And they shoot us back Harris, I believe, the receiver we've been rumored to sign with them.
William Fuller, you're getting too much from them on that end. That'd be way favored to us, and it needs to favor them for us to make the trade.
But okay, fine. But if you could, I'm okay with moving on with Debo. Honestly, I think I've heard rumors that we're not going to offer Debo a second contract, and I believe that's true. Because let's be real, we love Debo, we love his physicality, but can you bet on Debo for 16 games? Okay. Are you willing to pay? We'll get into this. Obviously, we're not there yet, but you have to question. Oh, okay. We'll put it this way, and I'll play devil's advocate, and I'll argue Jason's point. Right now, after this season, even if Bosa plays all 16, 17 games, if his agent walks up to you and says Nick Bosa is not playing another down for the San Francisco 49ers unless he is the highest paid edge rusher in NFL history, are y'all comfortable with that deal?
No.
Jamie?
I don't know. How much is the highest paid right now?
I believe his brother.
His brother?
Yeah, I believe it's $25 million.
Damn.
See, my thing is because like what we all said, Nick Bosa is a special talent. There's no denying that. And like you said, he has like
franchise changing.
He
talent.
is like yes, yeah, and he has like the physicality. He has everything. He has the work ethic. He has the physical tools. He has the mental ability. Everything.
It's his brother.
But Jason's also right too. If you can find players to replicate his production at a cheaper deal, that's also a possibility. I don't know if I would honestly, I've been thinking about this while you guys are talking. I don't know if I would trade him because he is one of our better players on our team, and our D line is so important to our defense. I honestly don't know what I would do. I'm being completely honest. I'm like 50-50. I could see myself trying to get Deshaun. If they asked for them, I would heavily consider it because like what John Lynch said, didn't John Lynch say that the quarterback and the guy who pressures the quarterback are the two most important positions on the field? Didn't either him or I've heard that somebody say that before.
Oh, well, everybody knows the three most important positions on the three most important positions on a football team are your quarterback, your left tackle, and your premier edge rusher. So this is the only thing that I will say. Nick Bosa, love him, everything. If you are not going to extend him long term, then yeah, I have no problem.
Oh yeah.
If you come to tell me that the Niners come out and say, look, we were just not comfortable with Nick Bosa's history, going back to high school, going back to his father, whose NFL career ended early due to injury. We're not gonna, I've heard rumors about steroid use. I'm not gonna go that far and say that. I have not seen anything that justify that. But
anybody who's a freak like him is going to get accused of it, no matter what.
Exactly. I think that's more just great genetics. You feel me? I think that's kind of like almost The Rock. I always tell people, hey, if you could breed the biggest, strongest, biggest people on planet Earth, what are the two races that you would breed? Black and Samoan. Right? So, The Rock is a big, fast, freak athlete. Maybe that has something with him being part black, part Samoan. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's a coincidence. So I think genetics has a lot to play with that. If you are not going to extend Nick Bosa, this is probably about the best you're going to get for him. Because I'm sorry. I personally, of course, you'd rather get something than nothing. But I'm not comfortable with letting Nick Bosa walk for draft picks. Nah, I'm sorry. I'm not getting, 4-1 man miss me with that shit, bruh. Because I've seen way too many. Because look, as much as we praise Lynchahan and everything like that, their first round picks have been some questionable decisions. Let's just leave it at that, right? I think we could all agree on that. And so, to me, if I'm going to trade Nick Bosa, yeah, it's going to be for Deshaun Watson. Yeah. So if you tell me that Nick Bosa is not going to be a long-term, if you tell me that Nick Bosa is not going to be a long-term Niner, then yeah, okay, fine. Cool. But if Nick Bosa is going to be a long-term Niner, despite, except for a trade like this or anything like that, nah, I'm sorry. I give Houston whatever picks they want. Pretty much anybody on the roster. I mean, if they came and they said it's Kittle or Bosa, sorry, we are not accepting less. I love Kittle Corn. Probably my favorite player on the team. But
also,
I'm sending Kittle over Bosa.
Then they won't take Kittle. I guarantee they won't.
No, I don't think they're going to take Kittle. I don't
As good
think
as
they're
he
going to
is,
take it.
you don't get. It's got to be a defensive end.
Well, it's like what I tell you. It's the philosophy of building a team. What's going to move the needle more on the Super Bowl radar? A D end or a tight end? I always look at this. How many teams, shit, in the last 20 years could you say won a Super Bowl because they had the best tight end? I can't name one. How many teams can you say won a Super Bowl because they had a top 5 D end? I would dare say probably every one of them. I mean, so tight end is not going to move the needle as much as edge rusher, especially a 3-down freak of nature, defense of the year, already won rookie of the year type of a talent. Look, I don't envy John Lynch if that's it's going to, in my honest opinion, it's going to take Nick Bosa or Fred Warner. I think those are
I
the
wouldn't give up Fred.
only main pieces as far as players. I think really those are the only two players that Houston would really be interested in as the main player of the package. And so, as much as I love Bam Bam, would you rather pay 20, 25 million to an edge rusher or 15 to 18 million for a middle?
Well, now that TJ's gone, I'd rather pay it to middle linebacker, and I'd use that other 25 mil to go after, multiple defensive ends and rotate them.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, y'all.
It's all good.
I think that's probably God trying to tell us that it might be a wrap here pretty quick. We're gonna go ahead and I know I said we would get into team needs, but we got plenty of the offseason to do all that. Jason, final thoughts?
So far so good with the free agency. Just now we see what's going to play out. Jimmy, Watson, whoever else. Now we'll see how that plays out. That's my big. Like I said, so far I'm happy with everything, even with the loss of Witherspoon. Not the biggest loss. Even if we lose K1, not the biggest loss in my opinion, because those are pieces that are easily replaced. With that being number 12 in the draft, we have a ton of options.
You pretty much can go best player available, I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
Maybe you might lean corner. That's what I would lean personally.
Yep.
I think we need a premium draft pick in a corner. As an insurance policy against Jason Verrett. Nothing personal to the brother. Love him, but I'm comfortable. But yeah, I totally agree. Jamie, final thoughts?
I agree. I really like the moves they made so far. I would definitely give it probably an A- for a grade right now.
Yeah.
Because they filled in a lot of needs. Yeah. They filled in a lot of positions that they re-signed a couple of corners, which we were all worried about. They got Juice back. It's been a lot of good momentum. Got a new center. Got Trent Williams signed. They've done a lot of good work. And so I think it's going good. We'll just see what this Deshaun Watson rumors, new stuff. See what happens with that.
It's us in Denver, apparently.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. But
us in Denver.
Yep.
And I don't think Denver has, besides Chubb, I mean, who are they really going to give up that's going to compete with Nick Bosa or Fred Warner?
I mean, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And that's my point. It's not necessarily that you're opening up the conversation with Nick Bosa, but if it's truly us in Denver and they offer Chubb, I think the only way we walk away with Deshaun Watson after that is via Fred Warner or a Nick Bosa type of signing.
If we
One
do,
last thought, we would be reminisced, and I know we didn't talk much about the MAC, but we'll get into that next week. One last thought before we go ahead and sign off. We'd be a last if we did not tip our cap and give a farewell to Mr. Ronald Super Blair. Super Blair, I was there. Your last play as a Niner was sacking Russell Wilson's bitch ass. And for that, sir, you will always hold a special place in my heart. I thank you for all that you contributed to the red and gold, and I wish you luck. And although I do believe the Niners made the right decision, especially, if we bring back Kerry Hyder, I tip my cap to you, sir, and it is with a heavy heart that we do say goodbye to Super Blair. So, with that being said, I mean, I give him an A minus. I think the only thing that can make me go even higher is Deshaun Watson. I mean, I think that's the only thing that. Okay, I'll say I'm at an A minus. They re-signed K1. I'll bring that up to an A. And if you give me Deshaun Watson, I'll bring that up to A plus 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 plus. And that will probably be one of the greatest off seasons in Niner history. If you think about getting
damn near in any team
probably one of the. If you look at the fact that you're signing probably one of the best tackles, I'm not saying in team history as far as longevity, but one of the probably the best tackles to put on the red and gold, you re-sign him long term, and you add probably I'm not going to say probably the greatest athlete at quarterback that the Niners have ever had. Yeah, I don't really see an offseason that can get much better in Niner history personally. So with that being said, we thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Niner Faithful Radio. We look forward to an awesome season 5. Make sure to check out all our gear. We're going to be adding new gear this year to Niner Faithful Radio shop. Jamie is we're going to do some changes. We'll be putting out an episode of Faithful News Minute with all the news on that, probably here within the next couple of days. We're going to be having a press conference returning this year, halftime show, Jamie's post-game show, all that good stuff. Make sure to check out NinerFaithfulRadio.com. Kim says stay faithful, always. Go ahead and check out NinerFaithfulRadio.com/shop. Till next week, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Say faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners. All right, y'all. See y'all.
Bang, bang.
Bye.